Pimp my portfolio. Pimp my portfolio.
We have a community member on the line who has submitted their portfolio for our expert here in the studio to review and provide some ideas on how it can be improved. Our expert today is Matt Ingram from North Haven Financial Management. Matt, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, guys.
And on the phone, we have Rugved from New Zealand. Rugved, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you. I think first New Zealander here on Pimp My Portfolio. So great that we've made it across the ditch.
No pressure.
No pressure.
It's an honour.
Before we jump into it, Rugved, can you just introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Rugved. I'm an accountant and I've been investing on and off since university, but probably more regularly over the last 3 to 4 years, basically. Yeah.
Love that. Well, we've got a big portfolio to get through. Renzo, talk us through it.
So I'll start with ETFs, which are about 55% of the portfolio. We've got a number of NZX listed ETFs, the
Nice.
New Zealand Stock Exchange, Australia Top 200, New Zealand 50, US 500, Total World ETF, and an Emerging Markets ETF. Then we've got some US listed ETFs as well. Schwab US Dividend ETF, Vanguard S&P 500, Vanguard US Growth, and iShares India 50. We've also got some managed funds, a high growth investment fund, Foundation Series US 500, Total World Fund, US Dividend Fund, and another Total World Fund. That's about 30% of the portfolio. The remaining sort of 15% of the portfolio is direct stocks, Air New Zealand, Westpac, Wesfarmers, Berkshire Hathaway, Apple, Alphabet, Palantir, and to close it out, a little bit of Bitcoin.
What a portfolio. Some absolute bangers in there. Love to see it.
So Matt, we always start with a nickname. So what would you call this portfolio?
So I actually spent a few years in New Zealand and I got to know their lingo a little bit.
No. Yeah, okay. So what have you got?
The phrase that I heard that I quite liked there was, oh, sure, bro, that's sweet as. So that's what I've called the portfolio.
What do you think about that, Rugved?
Oh, I'm honoured by that description, to be honest. So I'll take it.
Nice. Well, why don't you take us sort of through the portfolio? How have you been thinking about it? How have you come to sort of build it as it is today?
Yeah, sure. So at the very beginning, I mean, like a lot of people at uni, I kind of picked individual stocks, which I regret now. But yeah, those are my sort of Air New Zealand, Westpac, those ones, and there were a couple of others which I've actually sold. And then as I've kind of learned more and read more, I've kind of moved more towards the ETFs, so the S&P 500s, the growth funds and things. I mean, the reason why there's so many different funds is because I keep picking the ones with the lower fees and that keeps changing. So like that's why it's kind of, yeah. So I kind of
Fair
need
call.
to simplify that a little bit, but yeah.
And how are you investing at the moment? Is it on a consistent basis? Is it when you just have a sort of lump sum savings? How are you approaching allocating at the moment?
Yeah, the last few years it's been every month. So as soon as I get my paycheck,
Nice.
it's just invested straight into those, the US 500, the World Fund,
Yeah.
a little bit in the dividend fund I'm putting in now. But yeah, it's just split up like that. And then occasionally if I have a little bit extra, and I've done a bit of research, I'll put a little bit into individual stocks, but not so much anymore.
Love that. Love that. All right. Well, Matt, what is your initial reaction here?
Yeah, there's a pretty busy core happening here. Rugved, can you tell me a bit about these smart ETFs? I guess we don't really have them here. Yeah, I mean, is that one of the main providers there?
Yeah. So Smart Shares, they do listed on the NZX, but yeah, they are basically an index fund provider for S&P 500, for a whole lot of world funds and emerging markets and things like that. But they do track VOO for the S&P 500. For the other ones, they track the listed companies in America. It's just an NZD. So
yeah, so I might have this wrong, but when I was trying to get my head around these, for example, like the Australian Top 200 ETF, it's the fee is 0.3%, but then it basically just has like the underlying Vanguard ASX 200, which is like 0.04%. So is that what you mean by you've just been chasing the lowest fees recently, realizing that these are a bit expensive and there's cheaper options?
Yeah, that's correct. So the fees, I mean, that one, particularly the fee is pretty high, but I can't find another option for the ASX 200, to be honest. So I'm kind of, yeah.
Oh, so the brokerage you use doesn't give you access to ASX listed ETFs and stocks?
Yeah. I mean,
Ah.
that smart shares one, they didn't at that time. But now they do. So that's why there's two different funds for the ASX 200. So that one has the lower fees, not the smart shares one. The other one is actually lower.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Yeah, well, look, I guess to get a bit more specific, I mean, that explains why there's so many different ETFs in there. But to get more specific, I mean, your core is touching on everything that you need in there. You've got a bit of Australia, a bit of New Zealand, a bit of US, a bit of emerging markets, a total world. So you've got a nice, well-rounded core there. Even if it's mixed between a bunch of ETFs, it's not the end of the world. It is a bit heavy towards the US, which isn't a bad thing. But maybe think about bringing some of that home, and that includes Australia. We'll let you count that as home. So maybe bring a little bit of it out of the US, get a bit more home exposure.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I think the things that jump out here is, like I said, this overlap doesn't really matter, but some of it does, where you've just got tiny holdings in something and it's just making things probably a bit too busy. So for example, going to some of the funds that you have, like you have a hedged version and an unhedged version of the same thing. This is the all world funds that you have.
Oh, yes.
And you've got 18% in the hedged and then 2% in unhedged.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that where you could probably just consolidate that. I mean, given that the hedged version is the bigger one.
Yeah.
Maybe just tidy things up like that. But in terms of the satellite or even the core, is there anything in particular that was bugging you or that you wanted to ask about?
I was like, when I put my portfolio through ChatGPT, they basically said the same thing as you. It said that, you're too heavily invested in the US, which was fine last year and the year before, but obviously this year it's kind of, yeah. So where would you suggest, apart from like what type of funds would you suggest?
Yeah. I don't think it's too heavy in the US, but it is definitely tilted towards the US. Maybe just topping up the Australia and New Zealand as well as that. I mean, the total world stuff has a lot of US anyway, but there's ex-US ETFs out there.
Yeah.
Things like VEU,
yes.
which give you the whole world ex-US, and they've got a bit of Australia and New Zealand, but like 1 or 2%. It's very slim. So I mean, I'm hesitant to say add another ETF into this, but focusing maybe a bit on the emerging markets and stuff like that as well might be useful, just to round it out a bit.
Okay.
Matt, I'm sure you've seen portfolios like this when people come and get advice from you, where they've done something like Rugved, where it's like they've got multiple instances of the same fund because there's been a change where, like lower fees. Like the classic example in Australia would have been when Vanguard's VAS and BetaShares A200 were in that fee cutting war. I'm sure people were jumping between the two. Do you suggest people consolidate to like simplify their brokerage, or are you fine with them having multiple instances of the same thing? There might be some tax implications. How do you suggest people manage a portfolio like this?
Depends how much more expensive it is. I mean, if it's actually not that much of a difference, a few basis points, just keep it. And yeah, it's a bit messy, but only add to the cheaper one, obviously, purely because of the tax implications. You think you're saving a bit in fees, and you will longer term, but if it's a few basis points, it's probably going to take a long time to make up for the tax that you just paid to do it in the first place. So yeah, it comes down to looking at tax. Also comes down to, I mean, does it bug you having several things doing the same thing in there? If not really, then it's all right, just keep it.
I'm guessing it doesn't bug you, Rugved.
To be honest, when I sent it through, it kind of did now, because I was like, oh my God, I have so many things that are the same.
Oh, well, that's good. At least you kind of recognized it.
Yeah.
It would bug me.
Let's move to this satellite. There's some big names in there. Where would you start with the satellite side of the portfolio, Matt?
I mean, a lot of them are pretty good names. Yeah, obviously with a decent size holding in Apple, you've already got quite a lot of that in your US ETFs, but that's all right if you're quite keen on Apple. That's had a bit of a tough time recently with Apple AI sort of underwhelming a little bit, and then tariff threats as well. But I mean, it's Apple. It's dominant. It'll probably, find its way through this mess. So I'd hang on in there. With Air New Zealand and Westpac, I really like what you said about you just bought those at uni. I feel like those are the two things that at least 5-10 years ago, before ETFs were really, big and well known, most uni students probably bought a bank and an airline. Like I have so many friends that bought Qantas and CBA. Yeah. And so that really resonated when you said that. I think Air New Zealand, you could drop that. It's such a small percentage of the portfolio. It's New Zealand's only major airline. So I think if any airline in New Zealand is going to do well, it's going to be that, but it's kind of one of the only ones. There's some smaller ones too, but I just don't see it moving that substantially. So to have 1% there, you could just take that out, have that working a lot harder somewhere else. And I would also look at, Wesfarmers has run really hard. You could probably consider that. That's such a small holding as well, just to clean things up, sell that. You've still got exposure to it in the ASX 200 ETFs, some pretty heavy exposure there. It's one of the biggest holdings in there.
Yep.
So I would probably get rid of those two. As for the other satellites, yes, there's some smaller ones and some bigger ones. Westpac is getting pretty big. That would be one that I would maybe consider trimming if you want to allocate elsewhere, just because, again, the double up with the ASX 200, Westpac's one of the biggest holdings in there. You're just getting really heavy. If you looked at it in dollar terms, you probably have a lot of dollars in Westpac across the ETFs and the direct holding. As for the other direct stocks, though, I would keep hanging there. They're all pretty good names. Is there any in particular that you are concerned about or have questions about?
Well, Air New Zealand has underperformed basically pretty much since I've bought it almost. So yeah, it's good that you kind of suggested that. Do you know what? I struggle to sell, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. It's just consider that it's for the best. If it's a small holding, it's not much. I find it's like buying shares. Most people, first time buying shares, it's a little bit scary, but once you do it, you're like, oh, that was easy. Same thing with selling.
Yeah.
Like, sell it, get it done, put it somewhere else, forget about it. Stop watching Air New Zealand. Don't pay attention to what it's doing, because if it goes up, you're going to think you're a terrible investor. So just sell it, allocate elsewhere, move on.
Okay. Cool.
Nice.
Love it. Well, Rugved, thank you so much for submitting your portfolio. We do really appreciate it. Plenty for you to think about there. Some good advice from Matt and plenty of opportunity to clean it up a bit. But I guess foundationally, it's certainly all on the right track. So congratulations on that. And we do really appreciate you submitting today. We know it's not easy to put your portfolio under the microscope, so we really appreciate it.
Cool. Thanks so much, Bryce, Ren, and Matt. Thank you for all your help. Cheers.
Nice one. Thanks,
Nice one. Matt, thank you as always. We really appreciate your support as well.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And if you'd like to submit to Pimp My Portfolio, head to equitymates.com/contact. There's a form there for you to fill out. If you'd like to speak to Matt or any of our other handpicked advisors as well, you can head to equitymates.com/advice, and there's a form for you to fill out, and we'll connect you with the best advisor.
I will say this about investing. Everything you do learn is cumulative. What I learned at 20 is useful.